Welcome back to CFB Nation. I am your host, Nino Brown. I got my guy. You know who it is. You see him on the screen there, Mr. Get It Done, aka D Now. And when you see us on the screen, you know what it is. It's Devy Dollins, my man. How we doing?
I'm excited about this guy. I didn't know much about him prior to you saying, "Hey, let's talk about this guy." But watching the little bit of tape I could, I'm excited about this guy. I'm a big tight ends guy. We talked
Yeah.
about it, so I'm excited.
Speaking of tight, I think this is what did we say? This is number five, fifth tight
Yeah,
end we've talked
I
about
think
in this
so.
Devy Dollins podcast that we've been doing here now for about a year. So it's we're diverse, right? We go all over wide receivers, running backs. We're just trying to dive in there and let these guys know that these are possible guys that we think could make it to the next level, could be great for you in fantasy, and who we think they could possibly be or possibly not be. But in case you haven't figured it out yet, the guy on the screen is Jaden Platt, tight end, Texas A&M. Uh, let's dive right into it. 6'5", 235. And I believe 235 was his senior year weight. I want to say it was 245 going in freshman year. We'll talk about where he's at right now in a little bit, but he's a big boy, former four-star recruit. He was a quarterback turned wide receiver turned tight end. You got to love the versatility from the big fella, right? Out of Hazlet, Texas. He went to, I think it's VP Eaton High School. Now talk to me a little bit about this kid's athleticism.
Yeah, so you know me, I'm a big fan of the kids that play multiple sports. This guy also did track. He did long jump, and his best jump was 18 feet 4 inches. So at 235, that's moving through the air.
Yeah.
He also ran 200, which is near and dear to my heart. Time, I did say in the green room, was a little slow, but again, 235, maybe pushing 240. But his time was 25.62. What did impress me was the way he was able to move his body when they measured his 34-inch vertical. Not too shabby. Um, he was tight end 14 in the 2023 class. He was behind some names like Luke Kaz at Arkansas, who was 11th. Finished the year with 16 receptions, 256 yards, 3 touchdowns. Tyler Lockwood, who was 12, didn't produce anything for Alabama this year. And then right in front of him, Brett Norfleet
Right.
at Missouri had 18 receptions, 197 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So,
Now, Luke Haas, he obviously got hurt. I think it was like 5 games, but he probably would have put up some pretty
yeah,
good numbers. Yeah.
he's another tight end I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, we spoke about him a couple times already. So I think his ranking was probably, a little undercut for him. He probably should have been a little bit higher. I've been an advocate on Norfleet. I do believe that's why I say that Luther Burden. I've said on the other show I'm on, Future Phenoms, Luther Burden won't get to 90 receptions because I do believe that Norfleet will kind of eat into that this year. We saw him kind of develop at the end of the season last year. So I think where this gentleman was ranked, Platt, I don't think the ranking was bad. But you got to remember he only had 2 years of playing tight end under his belt, and he's kind of adjusting to the positional change. And I think we're going to see, because what I saw on film from high school and what I saw in a little bit at Texas A&M intrigued me a lot, and you could tell by my comps. The ceiling and the floor are very high and low, but just the way he moved, we'll get to that in a little bit. So like I said, he went to Eaton High School in 2022. He had 31 receptions, 623 yards, 5 touchdowns, and then his senior year, he had 23 receptions, about 300 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So, I mean, he's a red zone target, obviously. So in 2 seasons, he had about 60 receptions, 919 yards, and 10 touchdowns. And he got himself some attention and drew himself some offers. And talk to me about that.
Yeah, so coming out of high school, he had 18 offers. Florida was a major player. He almost went there after his visit. Uh, Before he committed to Stanford, he had A&M. James Cooley was his recruiter there. Stanford, which he originally committed to, Ole Miss, Texas, Oregon, all the big guys in the SEC, Arkansas, Michigan State. Um, he originally committed to Stanford in December of 2021, but then a year later decommitted, and then on December 20th of 2022, he committed to Texas A&M.
Yeah, I believe it was like I want to say like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, from what I read, Florida really, really, really strong. He just loved when he went down there, and that was like his last official visit that he went. So, like when he hit the portal, I thought, oh man, maybe he's gonna go to the swamp,
Yeah.
but I knew they had board in him, so I'm like, oh, is
I
this
was going
gonna?
to say, could you
Uh,
imagine him with?
they don't know what to do. Billy Napier doesn't know
I
what to
was,
do with those guys.
that guy Charlie would have been eaten.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. He would have 80%, completion percentage. But so I was like, they gotta be a player. And then when we went to A&M, I'm like, awesome. Like they need a guy. Like they need just a kid out there, like a big body kid that can block and can get it done and be that short yardage guy. This guy's more than a short yardage guy. It seems like he's super athletic for the size. What I noticed, a couple of things that jumped off the screen to me is this kid's got soft hands. Like Platt could catch an egg shot by Gordon Bombay. All right, like wouldn't even crack the thing. It'd be beautiful. He's just smooth. Like whether it's behind him, fast, like a bucket throw. He just always boom in hands, though cradles and brings it right in with no problem at all. He's got long strides like a giraffe. This guy literally gets up 3-4 yards a stride. So that alone in space is great. A space eater, right? He's got good length. He's got good ball tracking skills. He's 6'5" with a catch radius of 6'9" in wingspan. Like, dude, any way you want, just throw it up to him or around him, and he's got a good chance of getting that ball. He works the middle of the field well, and he's a seam stretcher. What are some of the things that you saw that jumped off the screen to you?
So first thing that I liked is the versatility that you can use him at. You can play him in the slot or you can put him in line. Either way, he's slightly above average blocker. Definitely could use some work, but the tools are there and you can see it watching.
Yeah.
On contact, he's able to keep his balance pretty well. So shows good core, good legs. One thing that we had talked about in the green room, he worked on his speed this offseason. I think that's going to be huge for his progression. And with that, the explosiveness that you can see in some of his drills this offseason, the explosiveness off the line of scrimmage, it's there.
Yeah.
It could use some more refining, obviously, but the tools are there. So that gets me pretty excited.
Well, like we said, 2 years. He's only really got 2 years as learning the tight end position.
Right.
And he got hired. God, you talk about at least a dozen SEC Big Ten teams that were interested in this kid. So obviously they see the same things that we saw. Yeah, he's like I said, slightly above average. I did see him kind of miss some blocks where I thought he could because of his size. I'm just like, this kid should be able to just manhandle some people, you know what I mean? But I think once he gets in, another season in that college weight room, strength and conditioning, bulks up a little bit. The fact that he's more explosive, I said to you in the green room, also he's catching passes from both quarterbacks, Swegman and Reed. So, and he was catching. There was no dropping of the ball. He seems like he's good to go this year. Like I said, lost a little bit of weight, gained a little bit of muscle, explosive. He only got 3 games of play last season for A&M as a freshman. 2 receptions, 52 yards, and a touchdown, 26 yards per catch. First Oklahoma State, he had 1 long catch down the sideline there for 39 yards. And then against ACU, 1 reception, 13 yards, got the touchdown. But this kid's smart, right? I mean, he's going to be an aerospace engineering major. Like, it's not like a liberal arts degree or anything like that. He's a smart kid. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be able to grasp this playbook and be able to break it all down. Maybe we're going to let Josh Dobbs.
I was going to say another Pasternak.
You know what I'm saying? He could be a tight end version of him. But we're going to get to this part of our show here that we tend to can get spicy. You can get wow. It's the play comp section. Dino, start it off, my man.
Yeah, so looking at the tape, like you said, he plays a lot of slot or inline. First person that screamed out to me was Hawkeye, Noah Fant. In Iowa, they use him a lot in the slot, kind of bounced around between that slot inline. Also, a slightly above average blocker, so not the best sort of blocker. And then just size-wise, it kind of screams Noah Fant to me. But then looking at his attributes, work in the middle, large catch radius, large strides, It just screams someone who's been in the NFL for, I want to say, probably at least a decade. Been successful everywhere he's been, and that's Eric Ebron.
Yeah,
So,
Pittsburgh, Detroit. He's
mhm.
played a few years in the NFL. I like both of those comps. Ebron one I really like. I just think the size of him, the way he's for a big guy can move fluidly down the
Mhm.
field. And
And like,
Ebron had pretty soft hands, if I remember
yeah,
correctly. So
I tried to stay clear of like the gimmies, the Logan Thomas, the Blake Bells,
right,
the
the
quarterbacks, the tight
turned,
ends.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
All right. Well, I went a ceiling guy, like because the sample that we have is very, very small, right? So I went by what I saw in high school because the high school tape, man, this kid's super duper athletic. I'm
yeah.
talking about cutting dudes up in the middle of the field, one-handed catches and stuff. Like I said, we didn't see much of it, but he seemed like he was a little bit heavy, maybe coming into his freshman season. So I got him at the floor. I have him at Tyler Conklin, Minnesota, not the Jets.
Okay, I was going to say, because that's
They
not a
didn't.
bad floor.
Yeah. Well, I think he was better at Minnesota than he was at the Jets. I mean, I guess either way, right? So
Yeah.
I guess an average of them both, like that would be
Okay.
his floor, and then the ceiling, the body structure, the athleticism, the way he was making stupid catches, kind of how like nobody really knew who the gentleman I'm about to say was until he just started showing up and doing it. And I know he's, a Hall of Famer and he's one of the best tight ends ever, but I see a little bit of the style of play that I saw when they were the San Diego Chargers. Antonio Gates, okay? Like the big body structure. I want they're the same size. I think Antonio Gates was 6'6", 245, right?
Yeah, something like that.
This kid's a freshman at 6'5", 235. Like the body structure is there. The athleticism. You look at a couple of those huddle films, man. This kid's athleticism, he's got it. I know it's a lot of pressure to say the kid's gonna be. I'm not saying he's gonna be the next Antonio Gates. I'm saying the ceiling is he could be in that type of tight end, pass catcher. Antonio Gates was one of those inline guys that just chipped and got out there. Whether it was a 2-yard run, whether it was a 15-yard pass downfield, I think this kid's game could be there. We haven't seen enough of it. So that's why I kind of wanted to give a ceiling and a floor example instead of just giving like two comps. Because I knew when I came out with Gates, you, the viewers, anybody else watching this later on, be like, oh, here we go, this guy. But I wanted to give you reasons why. So if you want to kill me, D, now you can. But I tried to explain myself a little bit.
So, question for you. I know we had kind of talked. I didn't exactly hear what you said. What is he at right now on the depth chart? Do we know for sure?
So if you go to our lads, it has him at like 4th. But our lads on other teams has guys there that aren't even on the team anymore. So it's like I don't really trust it till we get official rosters after spring. But the fact that I'm seeing him taking first team snaps, right?
That'd be pretty promising.
More first team snaps than second team snaps seems like maybe they're liking what they're seeing so far this year. He may not get 50 targets, but if he can get somewhere in the realm of like 16 to 20 receptions, I'll be cool with that.
Yeah. Okay.
For a first full year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he only got 3 games at the end of the year. So it's like,
right.
And that was with the backup. Reed was in after Wegman went down with the injury. So he wasn't even working with the one yet.
Right.
Now he's getting time. So we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, I know Gates is a high ceiling, Taj Mahal, but I just see a little bit of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with that. I think if we were going to go maybe if I had to pick like the Hall of Fame person who I think it would be more Jimmy Graham, New Orleans. But again, that would be the ultimate ceiling.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham was just super duper athletic, right?
Yeah.
Dude's flying planes and shit. I mean, I guess aerospace engineer. So yeah, I guess they're right in that box. So yeah, all right, I gotcha. How tall was Graham? 6'8"? He was.
Oh yeah, he's taller. Yeah, for sure.
But all right, this has been a fun one. I liked watching this guy's film. Like I said, it intrigued me when I saw him a little bit, and then we both able to watch him film on and break him down. Cross the fingers. Hopefully, this guy that we hit on, maybe somebody will we'll take a shot on him and be like, all right, those guys know what they were talking about with Platt. He went off this year. So we'll have to revisit this midseason and see where he's at. But I'm Nino Brown. That's my guy D now. It's CFB Nation. This is Devy Downs. We out.